As somebody who has bought and used the budget-minded iPhone 5C, the original SE and the iPhone XR, I'm particularly interested to see how the new 2020 iPhone SE stacks up and how it is to use. In this review, I'll tell you exactly what you need to know and you'll be able to decide whether this is a contender for you. But before we go ahead, please do remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you know whenever we publish a new video. The negatives of the iPhone SE 2020 seem to jump out almost immediately. Its old-fashioned design, small screen and single rear camera are laughable on the surface in a world with no shortage of feature-packed sub-10,000 rupee Android phones. Apple's official starting price of 42,500 rupees for this model has already raised plenty of eyebrows, and many of you in the comment section have made fun of this. I do hope to see good deals and discounts on the new iPhone SE over the next year or so. So who should specifically choose the iPhone SE 2020? There are a few potential target audiences. First, there's people who really want a compact phone but still want a powerful 2020 level flagship. There really aren't any comparable Android phones right now. Second, there are people who already have an iPhone and need an upgrade but really don't like change. So far, I've seemed fairly negative about this phone, but now let's see what it does well. The iPhone SE 2020 is very slick and does have Apple's typical attention to detail. At 148 grams in weight and just 7.3 millimeters thick, this is a tiny phone and it's very easy to use with just one hand. The display, while relatively small and low resolution, offers excellent color reproduction and viewing angles. You get HDR10 and Dolby Vision, which is good to see. However, the tiny screen is not great for content consumption. It's nice that there's no notch, but the size and the resolution don't make for a very crisp experience. Games and videos aren't very enjoyable either. The front and rear are both made of glass and the frame is made of aluminum. Build quality does seem very good. I'm reviewing the black version today, but I do prefer the two-tone looks of the white and product red versions. Still, there's no getting around the fact that the iPhone SE 2020 feels painfully dated. I don't like the giant forehead and the chin on the front, which feel like wasted space in an age of all-screen phones. Then there's Apple's current gen A13 Bionic processor, which is capable of on-device machine learning. This is the same chip that has been used in the far more expensive iPhone 11 Pro models. There's no doubt that the processor is extremely powerful and you're unlikely to face slowdowns for years, if at all. I played PUBG Mobile and Asphalt 9 Legends. Both ran very smoothly at high graphics settings. I did feel that the screen was a little cramped, but the size of the body relative to it let me get a better grip than I'm used to. Apple has a pretty good reputation when it comes to software updates, and you're pretty much guaranteed at least the next 3 major revisions of iOS. This phone is also totally free of third-party bloatware and ads. Battery life isn't great. I could comfortably get through a full day of use with a little bit of video recording and lots of audio and video streaming, but there wasn't enough left over for the next morning. Our HD video loop test ran for only 8 hours and 42 minutes, which is well below average. Apple still ships only a 5-watt charger in the box, which is inexcusable for a premium device in 2020. There is fast charging support, but you'll have to buy a more powerful charger separately. On a related note, there's no 3.5mm headphone jack here. Now it's time to talk about the cameras. You get only one 12-megapixel f1.8 rear camera and a 7-megapixel f2.2 front camera, which will put a lot of people off. I would have liked wide-angle or telephoto capabilities, but I can certainly live without a low-resolution depth sensor and a macro camera. Having said that, the single rear camera is remarkably capable. Let me show you what it can do. Daylight samples came out looking crisp with well-balanced colors and exposure. Focus wasn't always perfect, but when it was, the level of detail in even tiny subjects and fine textures was excellent. Portrait mode works best when the phone detects a face, but even natural depth of field is quite pleasant when there's a gap between the subject and the background. Unfortunately, quality wasn't as good at night. Quite a few of our shots showed motion blur due to handshakes or moving too soon after hitting the shutter button. Detail was somewhat murky, and I have definitely seen better from other phones in this price segment. The camera seemed to do okay with night landscapes in which there was some ambient light. Video recording goes up to 4K at 60 fps, though the default is a more useful 1080p at 30 fps. I found video quality to be excellent with smooth stabilization even when I was walking, and punchy colors that were also balanced nicely. Even at night, I was able to pick out detail in reasonably well-lit areas. The front camera is good but not great. Depth sensing is quick and the saved results are more accurate in terms of edge detection than what you see in the viewfinder. You can even adjust portrait lighting after taking a shot. There's much more to the iPhone SE 2020 than meets the eye, but that doesn't fully excuse its high price and odd combination of current day and recycled features. It's undeniably frustrating to have to pay so much and not feel that typical excitement about a fresh product that can do new things. While the original iPhone SE felt modest and humble to me, this new model just reminds me that I can't afford something nicer. The real question is whether the iPhone SE 2020 offers good enough value starting at 42,500 rupees. I don't really think so. A price closer to 30,000 rupees would have worked much better in India. If you're even considering buying this phone, that means you specifically want an iPhone. The SE 2020 will fulfill that purpose, but it won't be totally satisfying. If you think you'll be frustrated by the cons of the SE now, imagine what you might feel in 3 to 5 years when it'll still be within its usable lifespan. If you do intend to use your phone for that long, I'd suggest buying the iPhone XR, which is frequently discounted to around the same price. That is, of course, unless size really is an issue. If you are set on the iPhone SE 2020, you could also wait a few months for the price to drop, which it will eventually. That was our review of the new iPhone SE 2020. Thanks for watching, and as always, for all things tech, do visit us at gadgets360.com.